Okay, sorry, we had some technical difficulties there. Good evening and welcome to our live stream for Cat Academy. If there's a video that you want to share with your friends, this is the video to share because tonight I'm going to be giving you all the details of what your kids are going to be learning with me. And we're going to deep dive and I'm going to give you everything that I have planned for your kids this year in Cat Academy. And if you stick through to the ending, I'm going to give you a little demonstration in case you're wondering how online classes will work. I have my little camera set up, and I'm going to give you just a little lesson or just show you something so you can see what it looks like. So let's get started. I'm going to pop myself over here for this. So first of all, like I said before, if you would be thinking of anybody, someone that could enjoy Cat Academy. I know if you're a homeschooler, we know homeschool groups and communities, and you know people. And you may have grandkids, you may have other people in your life that would really benefit from these classes. And you have a circle of influence that I don't have. So consider sharing. You can share this right now to your Facebook page. You could text a friend, you could email, and then share those homeschool groups. Again, like I have my groups that are here, but like I don't have groups across the US and you do. And I'm going to be sharing these classes online so anyone can enjoy them. So I'd really appreciate if you would share. Okay, let's talk about Cat Academy. So in case you didn't know, Cat Academy is a homeschool class. It's fine art classes for homeschoolers that will take care of the art for the year. So once you sign up, we will do art all year long, the school year, from September to May. So you don't have to worry about your art. You don't have to figure that out. I will take care of it for you. I know it's really important to have resources. And when you're homeschooling, it's kind of nerve-wracking to have to do some subjects that is not your wheelhouse at all and make you nervous. Math is the one for me. So my son has been beyond me in math for many years, and thankfully have somebody who can teach him. He's got some tutors. So there's just resources, and I would love to provide that for you because this is something I'm comfortable with. I've been doing it for many, many years, so I would love to do that for you. So it's for ages 9 to 18, and so we don't have everyone together. So we have a younger group and an older group, and then I tailor the projects and things like that for them for their age groups. Online and in person, like I said. So if you live in Horseheads, New York, you can meet me here in this room, or online, and you can meet me anywhere as long as your timing works. I think people in California may have to wake up at 6:30 to do classes, but maybe we can work something out. Okay, we'll talk about that later. And we live in New York, and homeschooling in New York is one of the most difficult states. I think there's three: New York, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts are the most regulated for homeschooling. So you have to turn in the beginning of the year. It's called an IHIP, your individualized homeschool education plan. And you have to tell them what you're planning on teaching your kids. And then throughout the year, we have to do quarterly reports and we have to tell them hours. And then we have an assessment at the end of the year. So it's really regimented. So this will satisfy New York State, especially for the little kids. But as your kids get older, you have to spend more time doing art. These classes are an hour and a half, so they will satisfy New York State, especially if your child is doing some work outside of class. So also, I did say September to May, because by May, a lot of our homeschool groups up here are starting to take vacations and they're kind of done for the school year. But if there are families that would like to go on into June, I will do that for you. So we can tack on another month if you would like. When do we meet? We meet in person Thursdays and Fridays, and then online we meet on Mondays. And I'll show you where the schedule is after I do all the information for the actual classes. And I just want to let you know, if that doesn't work for you, just message me. The reason we have a Friday class is because a mom asked. They couldn't do Thursdays in person, and they had something going on Mondays, so they couldn't do it online. And she asked me. I added a Friday class, and then the mom that had signed up for Thursdays, Fridays worked better. So now we have a growing Friday class. So just ask. And as I talk about these classes as an adult, if this is something you would like to do, I'd be open to teaching adults as well. So just message me and ask. You just never know what might happen. Okay, let's get into the Cat Academy plan. It is going to be drawing. Why aren't we doing painting? Why aren't we doing watercolor or even colored pencils? And I know kids tend, like when you want to get into art, that's the fun part. That's what you really want to do. But if you want to learn art correctly, if you want to do representational art, that means art that represents something. You can tell what it is. It's not abstract. If you want to do that kind of art, you really have to start slow and you have to take away all the other distractions. Um, if so, I've got the paintings here. I painted that nest and I drew that nest. If if you were just jumping into art, you don't want to have to deal with color. You don't want to have to deal with um, learning your materials. Learning how to use oil paints is a lot. You get brushes. It's so much. So drawing brings you way back down to the very very beginning because when you're painting in watercolor, whatever, you still have to think about proportion and edges and value and all those things. And you have to think about mixing color. Mixing color is really hard. I have on the color is a beast. It's an absolute beast. It will take years to learn mixing color comfortably. And not only that, you just have to learn how to use your materials, like how to use the water and the paint and your brushes. And there's so many variables. So, what we want to do is pare everything back to where we're not even dealing with color. We're dealing with shapes and edges and value. And then we're going to learn our materials. Yes, you still need to learn how to use the pencil for shading. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then all the other materials. So, when I went to college, I didn't even pick up a brush till I was in my sophomore year. So we did a semester of just drawing with pencils, and then the second semester we ventured into other things, which we will do this year, and I will show you. And I'm excited about that. So you need the time to just concentrate on the very very foundations. And I will say it's foundational. You see that there. You will use that say your child wants to do watercolor or even computer art. Learning this, what I'm teaching, is going to help them. It's like laying the foundation for all other representational art. Um, Drawing from life really does that. When I say drawing from life, I mean like my object is literally right in front of me. I'm not drawing from a photograph. It's very different to draw something in front of you as opposed to drawing something that's already flat on a photograph. So, and I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, drawing, that's just why, because there's you just got to bring it down to the simple the simple parts. And believe me, there's enough there to keep them occupied and challenged. Okay, I talked about sketching from life. Your child will learn how to observe. So, I'm looking around me. I didn't really plan on talk. Okay, pretend this is a book. These are my pencils. Um, if I have a picture of my pencils sitting on a table, the work's kind of already done. If it's already flat and I can draw it like I see it. But if I have these pencils, this book, sitting on my table in 3D, literally right in front of me, my brain already knows that's about 8 inches long and that's about 3.5, 4 inches wide. You know more about the object because your brain can interpret it. Your brain's smart, your brain is fast, and it can get in the way of drawing things properly. So when you have this object, you have to foreshorten it and think through all this. This is for your kids, so I'm sorry. I get into. I'm going to teach you a little drawing lesson. But when you're drawing things from life, you have to do a lot more work to shut out what your brain knows about an object. And so it just really develops those observational skills. Is that really that long? I know it is if I tilted it up, but it's laying on a table. We want it to look like it's laying on a table. So you can't draw it how you know it is. So you really have to observe and challenge yourself like, ooh, is it really that dark? I don't think so. Is it really that hard edged? So observation from life, and we'll start seeing things that they never saw before. Just like when I started with color, mixing color in college, back to color being a beast. I would leave my painting classes in tears many, many times because not only I couldn't mix the color I was trying to mix, I couldn't even see the colors that my teacher was talking about. He'd say, there was this shadow on something. Do you see how it kind of goes from a purpley gray to a blue gray? No, I don't. It's gray. It's all gray. Couldn't see it, but it took a long time. And now I'm extremely color sensitive. I can see it now. So I don't know where I was going with that, but there you go. It'll give them a lot of brain work. They're gonna have to work their brain. They're gonna make new neural pathways. It's gonna be really, really healthy for them. And sketching from life is more practice. It's if you're a musician, um, you need to practice your skills. You need to have exercises. When I was learning piano, I had a book that was just exercises. It wasn't anything that I would perform, but it was just working my fingers, working my brain, getting speed, getting agility. So that's what sketching from life will do for your kids. They'll never be done with sketching from life. We will continue to do it throughout the class. I sketch from life still. It's a great way to warm up and just get ready. Throughout the class, like I said, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to add value to that. So when I say value, that is the dark to light. If my shirt is a dark value, my wall is much lighter in value than my shirt. And the white in this picture is lighter in value than the wall. So comparing values, learning to see them and put them in their place properly. I will teach them how to squint. So we kind of like shut our eyes just a little bit. It's the magic squint. And it helps us to see the values more simple. So when you're looking at something and it's got like all this shading, I should have had things here. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't think I'd be really teaching. uh, maybe this isn't right. Let me see. Well, if you squint at this, you can include this value altogether. If you don't squint, there may be some variations that you might notice. So squinting really helps simplify things. Did you know that I'm the best mom ever? Sorry, everybody else. I won already. So your kids will learn how to judge values correctly, again, with the observation. This is just going to be really, really good for the little brains. Along with that, when we add value, as we're getting into smooth tone, we're going to be doing value scales. So these are things that I had to do in college. This is the same one you've got up, but it's a little unfinished because I did this one for another class just to show them how to do this. So the value scale will be something that we use before we start another medium. So the first medium we're going to do is pencil, and we're going to learn smooth tone, which is a more careful, deliberate shading. It's not just shading. We are being really careful to make it as smooth as possible. Now, as I see this, I see a lot of problems with this. You might think it looks okay, but if you squint, I need a pointer here. If you squint at this, we can aim. You'll see some blotchiness here. It's a little light section here. There's a little blotchiness here. So that's where squinting kind of helps. But you take time to kind of perfect that gradient. So here we're going to use the values. You're going to have your darkest dark, your lightest light. You're going to have a 50%. So you're going to have to learn how to judge in between the dark and the light. And then this one's going to be in between these two. This one's going to be in between these two. So obviously not finished. And then, well, with these, you're going to learn how to make a nice solid color. And it's going to take a lot of time. They're going to have to learn some patience. And then this is the gradient. So they're going to take a lot of time to learn a smooth transition from dark to light. So just these practices are going to help them learn to master their materials. So there is learning to see and observe and getting it down how you want it. But then there's also learning your materials and how to make them do what you want them to do. So we're going to do value skills here and there. You can see the other one there that is dots, that's stipple. So that's when we get into pen and ink, which is another one that I'm really looking forward to. So we'll do value skills for those, and these will be projects, and they will have some deadlines. I will adjust deadlines. I'm going to wait and see, what the process is, what their how their speed of work is, and I'm going to start studying some doable deadlines um, for them, so that'll be good for them. Sketching from life. So we're going to add difficulty through the year. I'm going to introduce some tricky topics, and uh, a lot of them. There are a lot of tricky topics. So one being books, making them look like they're on top of each other and on a table instead of just something like this. And then flowers, all the petals. So we're going to go right towards things that are difficult. Um, I teach a class of artists. They're grown, grown up. They're all grown up. They're a retired group of people. A lot of them are self-taught, and they're all artists. So I teach them every week. And if I hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm so bad at such and such," or "I could never," or "I've always had trouble with this," well, guess what we're going to do the next week? We're going to go right into it. One of my ladies had some comment from a teacher about the way she does rocks. And it has stuck with her, and she's felt intimidated by rocks all this time. Well, when I found that out, one of the next lessons, I brought a box full of rocks and we sketched rocks. So, and it's getting better. I think it's not as bad, but you've got to just go right into it. And this, when you tackle these difficult things, this eliminates the intimidation. Okay. So we're going to do that. I'm going to bring these really tough things to them. I may make them sketch a nest, which is really a lot of intimidation. And then they'll gain confidence because then it will take away the thing that they don't think they can do. Now that that thing's not there, like, I think I can do that. The confidence is just going to grow. So then we're going to go into smooth tone. As I said, before we get into these projects, we're going to do some of those value skills. So these were projects to master their materials, to kind of output things that they've learned. They're sketching, they're practicing, they're doing like the scales. And then this is going to be a final, like a polished project they're going to spend some time on. It's going to teach them patience because the shading is not fast. So you got to go slow. And it will teach them attention to detail. I'm going to give them some parameters. I want a 2-inch border, and they're going to have to draw a nice 2-inch border around their project. And I will hope and expect that it will be a nice drawn line. We're going to learn how to use rulers and all of that, and just make it good. Make it good. Work really hard on things. So these are some of the projects that I did in college. We will probably work from photographs for a lot of these. I might try to set up a still life. The violin was a still life. And so you would go and, oh, it was tough in college. Um, we would have several classes. Several people would be sitting in my seat throughout the day. So you would have to try to get that seat in the evening so that you could have that perspective. So I don't know if I'll do that to them, but um, so next. Okay, so here's just another look at the smooth tone. This is a close-up picture of that bird. Okay, after we do a few projects in smooth tone, we're going to go to charcoal. So this was made just by getting a black board and using a white pencil on the blackboard. Very simple, not so easy to do. And you have to because it's opposite. You're not putting the dark down, you're putting the light down. So this is a really fun project. So we'll do some practices. We'll do a value scale for this, light to dark, and learn the pencil because it's going to behave differently than the regular pencils. So they'll spend time with that. They'll learn edges. So look at the edges here. I'm getting ready to point. Like you can't see me pointing. So the sweater has a mixture of hard edges and soft edges where the from the light to the dark go slower. So they're going to learn edges, which is really important. It gives an indication of the texture of something. So this is another charcoal project, but it's a little bit different. So the gray is the board. So you're not putting anything down that's the gray. They have a black charcoal pencil and a white charcoal pencil. And so you're coming from the darkest dark and the lightest light, and then you kind of like fade into each other. And then you let that middle tone be just the board coming through. So it's a lot of brain work to figure out how to make that happen. And now they're going to learn how to deal with the black charcoal pencil, which is really different from regular pencils. And then we're going to try Conte. Kind of similar idea to the charcoal. Conte is, I don't have one with me, but it's a stick, and it's usually like an orange stick. So you do like an orange stick and a white stick, and then that peachy color is the board. And so it's a very similar idea, way of thinking, but it's a different material. So again, we're going to do value skills. We're going to have them get really comfortable using the materials. I am probably the most excited for pen and ink. So we have these little micron, they're not little, these micron pens, and they all have a different size tip. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Hmm, this one has such a tiny tip, it's not even showing up. So you can make thick and thin lines or dots, whichever you do. Both of these that I'm showing you here are stipple. We will do hatch, which means just a line. Crosshatch is like you're crossing the two lines to make things darker or lighter, and then just line drawings. And when we're doing this, probably in the art appreciation piece, we're going to look at some illustrators. There's a ton of illustrators that I love so much that did line work for like the Nancy Drew books, the Hardy Boys, things like that. So we're going to look at those. And we're going to have some really fun projects for these. Now, this is time consuming. So they're going to learn some more patience. They may be working on it at home and just, dot, 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 dot. It's kind of relaxing to do. So I'm really looking forward to these projects. So some other things that we're going to be learning, and not limited to these. Well, I'm just going to be throwing things in throughout the year as we have time. But these are some things that I definitely have planned. Principles of art. So this is one that is really, really helpful. They'll learn all the names for the shadows, and you're going to see this in life. If you have a bowl, a white bowl on a table, the light, I can't point to it. I can with the camera, but I don't have that on right now. So you see the reflected light. That's happening because the light is hitting the table and bouncing back up underneath the object. And then you have that core shadow where the light from above and the light from below don't quite meet. So the light from below is not as bright as the light above because it's reflected and it's not direct. And then you have that core shadow going through because the two lights don't meet. So things like that to look for and observe that they're going to be doing. When they're sketching, then they're going to see that. I see it all the time. I had my group, my Wednesday group, sketching pumpkins around the fall holidays. I cannot talk. In the fall, they were sketching pumpkins, and it was happening. So I had a white tablecloth, and the light was hitting the table and coming back up and hitting like the underside of the pumpkins. And I pointed it out, and they weren't seeing it at first. And then I was like, oh, I see it. Yes, there it is. So when you know to look for it, and then you see it, you actually see it. Don't draw it in if you don't know if you can't see it, but then you can put it in, and your drawings will be so much better, so much better. So we're going to learn these things, and then, for example, then we'll do a project on it. So this is charcoal on toned paper, the black charcoal and the white charcoal on the toned paper. So we'll do some projects like this. And perspective. So tonight, if you stick around, I'm going to show you some perspective and just show you how the camera is going to work and how the online classes, you'll be able to see everything I'm doing. Perspective is so fun because once you learn the principles of it, you can create all kinds of cool scenes. You can make buildings, cityscapes, interiors like this one here, and they all follow the rules. And so everything looks correct and in perspective. And if you do it a certain way, it can be really, really dramatic. So we're definitely going to do some projects in perspective. And some additional things that I know that we're going to be doing. gesture sketching, which is quick sketches, but of people. Like say you're at a park or a restaurant, you can just kind of sketch somebody real quick. It doesn't have to be um, a a masterpiece by any means, but you're just copying shapes down. And it happens to be a person. So we're going to do that. Sometimes you do that with Conte. That's kind of fun. I'm going to teach them how to draw fur and hair, which can be one of those intimidating things and one of those things that people overthink. So I'm going to show them how to do that. We'll learn sighting and measuring. This will be used, well, you can use the measuring when you're sketching, like little quick measuring to make sure things are correct, or to make sure everything's going to end up on your paper like you want it to. Um, but sighting and measuring definitely for the big projects. We will start off with tracing paper on all the big projects, because you can erase over and over and over, and the paper doesn't tear. I mean, unless I guess you could make it tear, but it really is very resistant to tearing. And so you can get it just right how you want it. And then you transfer it onto your nice board. And then that's where you do all the defined work. So you can do the measuring on the tracing paper and make all your mistakes there and get it just right there. And I'll also talk about fabric. Um, and we'll do more. I know we'll do more, but these are the ones that I definitely want to hit with them. But wait, there's more. I'm also doing art history. So I did allude to that. I think it's so important to input. So when I'm painting or when I've got a lot to do, I get dried out. I get like just dry. Dry is the word. I get uninspired and I'm just done. I've output so much. You need to input too. So the more you input, the more inspiration you get. So always love doing art appreciation and looking at other artists' work. Look at this lady there. Okay, right around the 1920s. I wasn't planning on this, but I can't help myself. Right around the 1920s, we had Art Nouveau. Have you heard of Art Nouveau? It's the very flowery designs. There's a lot of buildings in New York City. You can see Art Nouveau. There's actually a metro station that is Art Nouveau, where everything's very curvy and it just has this really distinct look. And then we went to Art Deco, which is the Chrysler Building. You'll see that it's very geometric. So somewhere right in there, Coles Phillips was the artist, and he kind of like made Art Deco famous. And that was the same time the Flapper Girls had their look. So he got really, really famous with this style, and it's called the Fadeaway Girl. And if you look it up, Fadeaway Girl by Coles Phillips, there's a ton of really cool images. He did a lot of work for Good Housekeeping and Life Magazine and the Saturday Evening Post, the same magazines, or well, Saturday Evening Post was Rockwell's main one. So that's how a lot of them got famous, and also why a lot of them just did illustrations of women because they were the ones buying the magazines. So anyway, this is Coles Phillips, and I just love talking about art. So there you go, a little fun snippet of art history. So I think it's really, really important to have that in class, and they get inspired. And it's fun to look at other artists. And sometimes artists have brought in movements, like Monet and Impressionism. They were not well accepted at all. They were like the real artists did not like what they were doing, because it was a big deviation from the very tight, perfect paintings that were being done at the time. But now we love Monet, and the Impressionist movement is such a gorgeous movement, a group of paintings and artists, and he kind of paved the way. He was one of the few that started it, and if he had listened to everybody, uh, we wouldn't have all these beautiful paintings. If he'd become intimidated and decided, okay, never mind. I'm so glad he didn't listen. So just lessons like that of other artists and what they did with their lives, and like we can pull things from it and gain inspiration from their lives. So anyway, we will experience and connect with art in many, many different ways. And I will tell you Friday morning, I'm going to do a live stream and I'm going to teach you a lesson. We're going to go through this. We're going to look at a piece of art. We're going to talk about an artist. We're going to experience it in a certain way. And I'm not going to tell you what way it is, but we will do certain things. There's certain activities you can do with art. You can discuss it. You can have a debate about it because there are some pieces of art that like, we don't know what these things mean. And we can debate, discuss. You can do some writing things about the art. There's lots of different things we can do. So this piece I think is crucial. It's really, really important. And it inspires you to do more. It may inspire one of your kids to go a direction in art that I wasn't teaching. So we can kind of do a little bit of that as well. In addition to talking about other artists, we're going to talk about how to go to a museum, how to go to a gallery, how to critique art. I am planning on us having art critiques of each other's work. It's scary. It's not. So we will put the work up and we will discuss everyone's work and we will say something, tell the artist what we like about it, what maybe could have been improved, kind criticism. Okay. So we will learn how to critique art, and there are some steps to it as well. When you're just like, say you're going to a gallery, there's some things you can definitely do. Ask yourself certain questions to get a more full experience of the art. Tomorrow night, I'll be talking about that more with the parents, what you can do when you go to a gallery museum to make it a full experience for your kids, as well as you don't have to go out anywhere. What can we do to bring more art and observation into our lives? So join me 8 o'clock tomorrow night for that. So I think these are really important skills for kids to have, to just engage, to take that intimidation out. Sometimes if you haven't been around art, you go in a gallery, it's intimidating. It's like refined and beautiful. You don't know what to do about art. Some art is confusing. You don't know what to think about it or to say about it. So this will give them that will give them those tools to be able to do that. So what is our class routine going to look like? So of course it'll be different. It's not going to be the same every day. So we'll begin with maybe one or two, maybe all three, depending on what we're doing that day, of the first 3 items. I will probably do our history or look at a piece of art. And before we get into working on projects, we'll probably do some sketching. So to kind of loosen ourselves up, get the scales going, get the exercise going, get our brains in gear. We're observing. We're making good, deliberate judgments about what we're seeing and we're getting them down. Okay, we're not being intimidated. And then depending on what we're doing for the day, if we're starting a project, there's going to be quite a bit of me teaching to them and showing them, demonstrating how to do things, how to do this, how to flap your work. So just practical things. We flap our work. So that here, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, here we go. So that it's protected. I'm going to have to teach them how to do that. So we do that. Anyway, there we go. So I'll be teaching them what they need to be taught, demonstrating, and then we will have class time for working. And I think this is important for them to have that time. I'll have soft music on to concentrate. And at that time, I will go around individually, and your child will have individual time with me. I will sit with them, look at what they're working on, and I will answer any questions they have, and I will let them know what can be improved in a nice way. So it will be, I have a look at that angle. I think that angle, I think you have it too horizontal. I think it's angled a little bit more like that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Because they're not going to see it. There's so many things, because this is new, they won't be able to see it. And I'm fresh eyes coming around, having done this for a long time, and I'll be able to point some things out and help them improve. So kind criticism, I don't like the word criticism, maybe correction, I don't know. Pointing things out, observing things, and they will have one-on-one time with me, and I will be able to show them things individually. Now, we'll still be able to do that online. So we're going to use Zoom, and I'll talk about this a little bit later. Maybe I will. I might as well talk about it now, huh? I forget. So we're going to be doing this over Zoom. what I'm doing right now is not over Zoom. It's a live stream program. So I will be able to talk with them. Everybody else will be working, and I'll be able to talk with them. And what we can work out is, I think we're going to use like Google Classroom so that they can send me a photograph of their work, and I will already have hopefully a photograph of their source, which is the thing that they're looking off of to draw from. And then I can online be able to make some corrections and observations. So still be able to do that. And I think it'll work. It'll work beautifully. So let's see. So yeah, we'll have the beginning, depending on what we're doing. Definitely have some art history most days if I possibly can. If I don't have time, I might just send them out the door with a sheet. We'll see how that goes. So practicing sketching, and then we'll have a decent amount of class time to work on things while I help them each. While I help each of them. There we go. So to sum up, your child will learn these foundational artistic skills that are needed for representational work in all mediums. It doesn't matter where they want to go with it. This is where you will be best to start. Patience and follow through. Some of these will be slow going. They will be shading a little area, and then we'll be shading a little area, and then we'll keep going, and then they will squint and go, oh, that needs to be darker. Okay, let me go. Oh, that needs to be lighter. Okay, so we have this cool eraser that will pull out little bits of graphite. You can mold it how you want it. It's really cool. So they will learn patience, the importance of following directions. I will tell them, so this project has a 2-inch border. They will need to make sure they have a 2-inch border. It will be flat. I want your name on the back or whatever, just following directions. Always a good thing to learn. And then meeting deadlines on creative work is hard. It's hard to decide when it's done. So they're going to learn how to get it done to a point as best they can by a deadline. They can always keep working on it. But we do need to move on to the next thing. Like you can't, spend all the year on one thing. So these are all good skills for them to learn. And then obviously art history and appreciation. So benefits, increased observational skills. Again, we've talked about that. They're going to be seeing things that they never noticed before in all ways. They're going to grow in confidence. They're going to have a deep connection with other artists' work as we do the art appreciation and art history. Improve problem-solving skills. They're going to have to do some workarounds. Maybe they've drawn something that they can't undo. And to fix it would be starting over. Well, we don't have time for that right now. So we're going to have to figure something out. And then these treasured memories. So I've had a few students that I can tell that our time together years ago, they still remember. And I'll mention that later. But these are really cool memories of skill building and confidence building. Even if they don't pursue art as a career, most kids won't. But the things they learn kind of are more important than art. They kind of transcend art. So that's why I treasure memories. So okay, let's talk about the cost. So typical art classes around $20, $25 an hour if you're getting arts and crafts. You have the kids, they come, they learn a little something, they do something, they go home with the sheet. So I scan the interwebs. You're looking at $35 to $80 an hour for fine art in a group, and $50 to $150 for an hour one-on-one mentoring. Okay. These classes are an hour and a half in person, an hour and 15 minutes online. So let's go over what you're getting. You're getting longer classes, taught by working artists. That would be me. I have 20 years of working as an artist. I'm in galleries, I'm in group shows, I'm doing the things, and I've been teaching for over 20 years. They're receiving a fine art education. They're getting that art history component, and they're also getting one-on-one time with me. And the way I'm going to have it is I'm available throughout the week. If they are working on their project and they need help, I will help them. They will be able to contact me, send me a picture, and I will be there for them. So, like outside of class time, you still have me. So, in-person classes are going to be $35 per class. That's an hour and a half, and we're going to have 32 classes. So that comes out to 124 a month. So what I did was 35 times 32, and then I just divided it by the months. So it doesn't matter how many classes are in each month. That way it's all the same. You don't have to worry about it. If you've got a sibling, you don't have to do the 124. You can have a little discount. Okay. So online will be 25 a class because you also have to get all the supplies. For online, I will supply some of the things for you. Some of the things that I think is important for kids to have their own, like a set of pencils. It's probably important for them to have their own. But things like the paper and the boards, I will supply. Online, you'll have to do all of that. And the class is just a little bit shorter. So it's 88 a month for 9 months, September through May. And again, if there are families that want to go another month, I'll go another month with you. Okay. And it's 70 for an additional sibling. In October, I am offering auto pay as an option. I couldn't do it now because my website won't allow me to delay the next month. So if you registered today, today's the 6th or 7th. We'll just say it's the 6th. If today is the 6th, you're paying for September today, but in September, it's going to charge you again. So I'm having to delay it myself. So in October, I'm offering auto pay, and I'm going to give you 10% for the rest of all the payments. And that by the time you get to the end of the year, it'll equal 3 free classes. So I'm trying to help. I hope that helps. So even with the sibling discount, it'll be 10% off of that as well. And I have some student gifts. So everybody who registers their child by the end of this week will get a cute little notebook that I have designed. We have drawing things on here. We have painting things on here. And also the girl with the pearl earring is on here. And on the turquoise one, you can see Mona. So we have a little call back to art history and the wonderful things we're going to be learning. Okay, so if you go to the website, this is my website here. You click art classes, or down below, you see the arrow, you can click that. You actually get faster there if you click that one. And we have Cat Academy in person in the blue and Cat Academy online in the green. They're both right there for you. And I wanted to mention these things. This was maybe last week. I was posting about these classes on a homeschool group, and one lady commented on them, and I wanted to share it because it kind of gives you the long range view. Her kids, these are not them in the picture. This was the more recent class that I taught in my living room. But many years ago, I taught her kids in art classes, and they are now off into college, and the daughter just got her doctorate, not in art, other things. But this is what she had to say. The only thing my son specifically requested to see from all his years of schooling as I went through things this summer was his artwork. My daughter went on to connect with an art community online, producing and selling art just for the fun of it. And I really can't ask for anything more. That they loved art and just their experiences. And even though they didn't pursue it, I think she's in the medical field. It's still such a treasured time for them, and probably a confidence boost, just something that they remember and hang on to years later. So this picture of Landon. So I did want to mention this too. With the art history, I will try to go over artwork that is local. So the online classes, if you have a museum or gallery near you, I might try to do something that's there. And when you go, when we have talked about it and we have fallen in love with the work and we connect with the work, it's really a deep community, deep like bond. It's like, you know, this work and you really love it once you find out more about it. So this is at CMOG, and we went to go see Frank Lloyd Wright's windows. And it felt like we were seeing a celebrity because we'd learned about them and enjoyed them, and we knew some things about them and him. And so when we went, it was like such a connection. It was so wonderful. So I just love the way that art deepens things for you. We choose homeschooling for many reasons, and one of them is so we can provide our children with unique and higher quality educational experiences. And I really think this is one of them, especially if your kids are interested in art. I would love to give them this deep learning. Okay, what is next? I can't remember. All right, we're going to go to my website. So give me just a second. I got a clicky. All right. I want to show you what I've got to go over there, don't I? I'm like, what's happening? Give me just a second. All right. I want to show you what it's like to have an online class, at least just an idea. So I'm going to go over here and I go to the online classes. Down here is an actual video compilation of the me teaching classes. Oh, that's a great pause, isn't it? So just a compilation of me teaching these classes. I'm going to take myself off of there and I'll let you watch it. This is in the same room. And okay, I'm going to put my business back on. I'm literally sitting in the same spot. And if you watched my first video, what happened with my house flood and everything, and how now everything is new, even though it was like really, really difficult at the time. I'm just thinking about sitting here again and doing this now. What an upgrade and beautification of this whole room. And it's just such a blessing. And so anyway, I'm going to show this to you. If I can. There we go. All right. Give me just a second. Let me get that silly face off of me. Okay. Here we go.
So today we're going to be talking about negative shapes. We want to be positive about negative shapes. So what is a negative shape? First, let's talk about what a positive shape is. A positive shape is the actual thing that you're drawing. I'm drawing a mug, and I'm drawing these shapes related to the actual object. A negative shape are the shapes created by the space around your object. This is a negative space. Let me put it there. So this is a shape. This is a shape, but because of this positive shape, this negative space is created, and it makes a shape of its own. And so it ends up being like puzzle pieces. And while you're drawing, you can be focused on the positive shapes, but also if it's really tricky or you want to check your work, you can focus on the actual shape that's being made by the positive shapes. My brain knows that this is a circle, but when I have it, I'm going to try to get it closer. When I have it on a table, it's not a circle anymore, is it? It's an oval. So that's where I kind of have to forget what my brain is telling me about this object, and I just have to look at the shapes that it's being made. But can you see the opening is a circle? I know it is. It really is. But if I'm going to draw this sitting on the table and I draw the top of this as a circle, it's going to look off. If I draw this bottle like really big and high, and then I draw this one as it is, they're not in proportion. It's like they're not to scale. They don't relate to each other the way they do in real life. So we're going to talk about how to do two objects in proportion to each other, like they relate to each other actually as they are. So if you hang your fabric from one point, you will see pipe folds start forming. You can see the pipes like right here and here. When you go to bed tonight, you're going to see all the folds on your sheets and your pillows. Wait, you're both doing it. I know. This is the chaos that Landon has said we're going to do. We're both going to draw a drawing, I think different things, and you're going to have to guess what we're both drawing. When you're stacking books, you start to get these triangular shapes. And this one's a little different. This is a different shape here. This is a triangular shape that's a little bit connected to this one, and then you'll have one back there and one back there. So using those shapes, just looking at those as triangles will help you as well. You can find angles within the curves and simplify, at least just the general direction. I'll see you on the interwebs. Bye, everybody.
Okay, so that gives you, yeah, hold on. It's playing again. All right, bye. Okay, so that gives you an idea. You would think that online classes won't be as good as in person. I think there's pros and cons to both. Um, when you're online, you could see where I was pointing. I knew that everyone could see exactly the same place that I was pointing because everyone had the same exact perspective. When you're in a room, it is difficult. You know, when I'm pointing at, see that? See that right there? Everyone's sitting in a different spot. Everyone's got a different point of view. It's a little difficult. So, pros and cons. So, you can see how the online teaching can work really well. So, I'm going to show you. I got a new little camera instead of using my phone to show the table. And I'm going to do a little perspective with you because perspective is cool. And I want to do something so that you can see what it'll be like. Okay, so I got to click a couple things. Give me a second. All right. I'm going to make myself, oh, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Okay, there we go. I'm going to make myself smaller. Okay, so this is my little document camera. And we're going to start with perspective. So, trying to think, how would I summarize perspective? Drawing things as they should be. Um, yeah, my brain's blank. So, first we're going to start with a horizontal line. These are just guides. This is like your eye level. This is my seeing level, which is the horizontal line. So anything above this is like floating above me. Anything below this, I'm over and I can see like the top of it. So the next thing I'm going to do is just decide on 2 points. These are called your vanishing points. Okay. I'm going to draw a box. I'm going to draw a box that goes over the horizon line with my microns so that you can see the actual box a little bit better. So we're going to start. I'm not going to do it dead center. So I'm going to draw the front corner of the box. With 2 point perspective, we have 2 points. So this is 2 point perspective. It's your lines are either vertical, up and down, or they go to one of these points. So after you draw your line, now I'm going to draw some guides. I'm going to draw the sides of the boxes going all the way to the points. I'm going to draw these a little light. You can still see them. Okay. And then I go to the other one. Okay. It looks weird. Go with me. Now I get to decide how long this box is. So this is the front corner, and then these are the sides that go out. So I'm going to make this box long on one side. I can use my micron for this. Long on one side, and I'm going to do short on the other side. Okay. And now I'm just going to go over the lines that are actually part of the box and not just a guide. This one. Okay, so I have a box in perspective. Now I'm going to draw one that is floating. And this is where it gets a little dramatic. So because it's going to be above me, now I'm going to be able to see underneath the box. So it'll be a little more interesting. So again, I'm going to start with the front corner, and I can make it as tall as I want. My pen is drying out. Maybe I started with the wrong one. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw the sides. Okay. Now we do the same thing we did here. Now I get to decide where the sides of the box end. And when I do that, then I will be able to find out where the bottom of the box, how that's going to go. So this one, maybe I'll make it a tall, skinny box. Maybe one side will be skinny. So straight up and down. Okay. Now that I've decided where the box ends. Now I will be able to get the bottom and find out where that back corner is. So we're going to go from this side and cross over to that point. And then we'll go from this side to this side. They're going to cross each other. And to the other side. And see, look, now they crossed each other and now we have the underside of the box. So it's all drawn. So now I'm just going to go over the actual box parts with my micron. And then you have a little floaty box. One more. There. And if you do a bunch of them, it's kind of cool. These don't have to be boxes though. What if they're buildings? So I'm going to erase the lines that are inside this box. I don't really need it there. And I'm going to turn this into a building. So we can make a door. So I draw one line and then the vanishing point will let me know how tall the door will be wherever I choose to end it. So now the door is in perspective. Now I can do other things like another line. Maybe I have two doors. It's a double door building. Okay, what about windows? We can't just, draw squares. We need them to go to this point and make them make sense. So I can do 1, 2, 3 rows of windows. So that's where they start. And then this will tell me how tall they are going back. Like that. Okay, and then I get to decide. Now there is a formula for knowing how far apart things should be as they go into a distance. Like as things go away from you, like train tracks or fence posts, they do get smaller. They do get closer to each other. And there's a way to do that. I'm not going to do that right now. It's a bit of but I'll teach it to your kids and they'll probably just run with it. So perspective is really fun because then once you get the principles down, you can just make whatever you want. And they don't have to be squares and boxes all the time. You can use perspective to help you draw whatever you want. So I'm just going to do a few of these so you can see. I did one too many lines, so we'll have a set of windows not drawn. You can make a cityscape, and you saw that picture I had. You can also do interiors in 1 point or 2 point perspective. You can do a ton of things with it. There's a little small book that we will get, and it just goes in real depth, all the things you can do with perspective. And you can make really dramatic images. So there are your little windows in perspective. And if I did the same thing over here, I could do that. You could do, say I have, let's see, say I have a sidewalk that comes out. I'm just going to go ahead and use my pen. Okay, and the lines on the sidewalk, I might make some little dots. You could even figure out how to do cars and trucks. You just kind of like simplify things into basic shapes and then use the perspective rules. And see how you can make the lines in the sidewalk and they just kind of will go back and fade into nothingness. What if I want some lamps? Well, I could do, let me do another building here so you can see them. Let me do a tall building. Don't leave it there. Oops, I made it too long. So you can see how you can start creating a scene with these very simple little bit of rules here. So yeah, you can make cars and trucks and do lampposts and just start adding all kinds of things that you can think of. I could do a peaked roof on here. This is a cool thing. So you find the center of your square. So there's the center of it. And you go straight up. I might just stop here because my other building's there. And that's your peak. And you go from there to there. You can make like a barn if you want. So that's how you do a little peaked roof. Like that. There. And then you do something for the back. I kind of messed it up because I put that other building there first, but you do the same thing. You will figure out the back side of that building. Even though you can't see it, you need to know where it is. Because you need to know where this point is. At the bottom. I'm going a little bit ahead as far as I'm just doing this and I'm not necessarily teaching it so that you can do it too. So I just wanted you to see how cool perspective is, and I think your kids are going to really enjoy it. So there's the center, and we're going to go from this point all the way back, and there's where the peak is. So then I go from the peak to here. There. This shouldn't be here because it's that building and now it's transparent, but that's how we would do that. And I will teach your kids all of that a lot slower than I taught it tonight. But now you can see how it will work for online and how your kids will really be able to see what I'm doing. And when I need to demonstrate for them, it'll be just fine. All right, so let's wrap up. Yesterday, if you hadn't caught it, yesterday my live stream was just you getting to know me. For those of you who don't know me, you will know me after this. Let's see. I showed you some of the things we enjoy. We like Duncan. We have a dog. Some of my early paintings. We play Minecraft. So things like that. And tomorrow night, same time as this, 8 a.m., 8 p.m., excuse me. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., I will be talking with your parents about all kinds of things you can do to enjoy art with your kids. If you are taking them to a museum or a gallery, I will talk about things that you can do to make it a more full experience. And if you're wanting to stay home and just want to do something artsy with them, not necessarily make art, but talk about art, I have some tips for you. So that is tomorrow night. And the following morning, Friday morning, I'm going to have a lesson with you, an actual lesson. This was just kind of me showing you how you can see what I'm doing, basically. But on Friday morning, we're going to be talking about an artist. We're going to explore a piece of art. We're going to experience it in a certain way. And we're going to discuss it, although you won't be discussing it with me because I can't hear you. And then you and I are going to do a little bit of art together. Okay. So for that, you will just need a pen and some paper. Yep. So we're going to do some pen and ink. So that'll be fun. So don't miss Friday morning. Have your kids join us as well. And you do have a little bit of homework. You had class today. You have homework. So please share this video. If you can think of anybody, any homeschooling families who might be interested, please share with them. Share the website link if you would like. Share the video if you felt like this would be helpful in helping them understand what I'm offering. And you have to come back tomorrow. So tomorrow night and Friday morning are going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining. And I really appreciate you being involved and interested. And we will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful